Hey guys, Punisher here from Console Confucius, and in this episode I wanted to sort of talk about what's going to be in the Black Ops campaign, and then I wanted to tell my prediction of what is going to happen in it. So they've released a few trailers now, and each one really just hooks you in even more. It really just pulls you in and doesn't let go until the next video comes out. So there's a few things that we know for sure. Right now we know that the timeline is set up unlike any other game. It's set up over a large span of time with one man remembering all these different things. And that's why in the first video you noticed that he was in sort of a lab, because it's that one guy remembering all those different things, and they're bringing the memories out of him or something like that. And they did this because they said that they're going to have basically flash forwards in the game where you're not really going to know the whole magnitude of the mission or the real mission until the very end of the game, or close to the end, where you get to the point where you have all your memories and you can sort of combine them together and figure out what the real mission actually was. And I don't really know how this is going to work out. If it depends on if they really mixed it up, or if they just had like a little flash forward or like a flashback. And really, if they just like completely mixed it up, I think it's going to be just too really confusing to follow. You could sit down and you could write it out and you can know exactly what's going on with it, but I think the average gamer would not really have the abilities to really know what's going on in the game, and they would just be completely confused if they mixed it up. Or, on the other hand, it could just be a brilliant idea and be the most amazing campaign we've ever seen. It all depends on how they wrote it out and how they built up the campaign. Along with that, they've also released some information about the settings of the campaign. Now, what they've released is that it's not in one place, it's in just a multitude of places, spanning from the Arctic to Cuba to Vietnam to Russia, and in fact one whole level is underwater where you swim. So that's going to be interesting. I don't really know how that's going to play out, but like the campaign, it can either play out good or it can play out just completely horrible. But I think it's going to be really just amazing how they said that each level is going to have its own personality and its own features that makes you remember that level. And I just think it's going to be awesome knowing that each level is going to be a surprise, and it's not going to be another jungle or another Afghan city. It's going to be something new. They've also released that one of the levels you're going to be flying the SR-71, which is the spy plane in the trailer, and that plane goes basically 3 times the speed of sound, which is pretty fast. And I don't really know how Treyarch plans to pull that off or how the level's going to work, but I hope it works awesome, because if not, it's going to suck. Just like everything else, they're taking a lot of risks, I've noticed, and which is a good thing, because without risks, great things could never occur. But if one of these risks, if one of those goes wrong, then it could basically bring their whole game down, and I really hope they can pull it off. They've also said that although the Vietnam War and the Cold War are their settings, it's not what their story's about. So they more act as backdrops for their story, which is really interesting. And in fact, they released that in the Vietnam segment of the campaign, you're going in and trying to retrieve something for your true mission, which is really cool because it really stirred up some ideas in my head on what the real story is going to be about and what the campaign as a whole is going to be about. So it really got me thinking. Basically, overall, I think this campaign is going to be really interesting and really unique and really different, and I hope so, because I hate when games do the same thing over and over just because it brings money in. And like I said, the only way to come out with a truly great game is to take risks and do something different. That's why COD 4 was so great, because it was different than every other shooter we've seen before. That's why Halo is so great, because it was different than every other shooter we've seen before. And I'm hoping that this one is too. So please stay tuned for Black Ops gameplay and the Black Ops walkthrough and Black Ops review, and you can look at a whole Black Ops preview of the multiplayer with everything in it at our channel that Skater Soldier did. So I'm Punisher, this is Console Confucius. Please comment if you want, subscribe if you want, tell us how we can make a better show, and thanks for watching.